1, 2, we know what to do. Hi, this is Jim, founder of Title Leap and attorney at James Brown Law. Welcome back to another Title Talk Quick Hit. So I don't have David because he's in closing, so I want to call these quick hits instead of deep dives, which we'll do sometimes when David's available and we can go into more depth. But this is a quick hit topic, and that is the realtor.com announced at the end of September 2020 that they were going to start putting flood hazard rating information on the realtor.com website. Why is that important? So a lot of buyers, about 70 to 80% of all buyers, start their real estate journey on the web. And they go to Zillow and they go to realtor.com principally. And so if realtor.com is giving flood hazard rating information that's readily accessible to buyers, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but downtown there's a lot of street flooding going on in downtown West Palm and surrounding communities related to the king tides, and you have concerned buyers, and the flood hazard rating information that realtor.com is going to give is going to be property specific. So historically you had flood zones and all properties were graded in that zone, but now realtor.com is going to have property specific flood hazard ratings, and they're going to get that information from the FEMA maps, and FEMA is going to be giving property specific flood information. So they're going to be looking at road elevations, they're going to be looking at finished floor elevations, and you could have one property that's rated at one risk level, and you're going to could have an adjacent property right next to it within 50 feet that's at a significantly higher or lower flood hazard rating. And why is that important? Because you go to a listing appointment, you want to take your listing, and this isn't a legal issue, this is strictly a business issue, but when you take the listing, you want to be aware of all elements of this property. And so if you've listed the property for weeks and you're not getting calls, you may want to go back and see what realtor.com is saying about your property. But more importantly, when you go to your listing appointment, you want to have that knowledge available. So you're the sophisticated realtor, you've done all your homework, you're going to your listing appointment, and you're bringing it to the attention of the seller that, hey, you realize this property is a significantly higher flood risk according to realtor.com, or it's a significantly lower flood risk. And so if it's lower, that would make it more attractive in that community. If it's higher, obviously, it may have to be priced accordingly. That's an important factor, I think, more and more as we see these signs appearing in the street, which I live down by the water just south of Southern, and I see more and more street flooding signs appearing, and I get calls from realtors and they want to know what's going on, and they want to know about the different flooding projects that are available. We can talk more about that in a future Title Talk, but realize that realtor.com is publishing property specific flood hazard risk criteria. That is, like I said, it's one property, and a next door adjacent property can have a very different flood hazard rating. All right, so it's been a pleasure bringing this information to you guys one more time, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Stay tuned.
If you're a Florida realtor, or you just really like our content, head over to newpathtitle.com. Explore our realtor resources, submit a question to be discussed on our next show, or sign up for realtor resource newsletters. We talk about real estate business, law, tech, and everything in between. See you next time.